What's up, Red River Podcast? So much to talk about that we're not going to get to everything here, but a lot of things happened since last we spoke.
Yeah,
Shout out to Theo Huxtable, Malcolm Jamal Warner. You
word.
know, uh, you know, aside from the TV show, I didn't really pay attention to anything else he did. Apparently, he was a really good bass player, but whenever you
Yeah, I
think,
heard
yeah.
that. He worked. He got in. He had a lot of sitcoms, I think, here and there and stuff. Seemed to work.
I'm sure. And he was, on vacation. It's just weird. You're like 54 and like you drown. Like that's a bummer, like he seemed to be having like a pretty good life. He did like an Instagram post talking about like what he was doing, and then you just like, like I mean, you have to be really thinking to yourself right before you drown. You're like, I can't believe I'm 54-year-old fucking celebrity and I'm about to fucking drown in Costa Rica.
Ugh, I know. No justice.
That's it.
He
What a
was the
way,
first to go.
what a way to go. And then from there we got Ozzy and Hulk Hogan. Um, Obviously we're going to talk about Ozzy again. We'll
Oh,
just
I
go
thought
through.
we were doing Hogan's or your favorite matches, top
Yeah.
five. My bad.
I Hulk Hogan was a very big deal for me for like probably like 3 years of like, what I mean? Like it's like from 7 to 10 or something, like
Sounds about right.
yeah, right?
Yeah.
Like you see him and you're like, oh my God, this guy's like a giant. And recently, the day before, I watched Rocky 3, and because it's been so long since I watched it, AMC Plus has like all the Rocky movies up, and then you just remember just the absurdity of like I guess like you catch a little bit of heat to fucking get fucking Hulk Hogan in there. But this was like 82, which I don't even know if he was like that big of a deal in 82.
I don't know. I don't think he was. No, I don't think it was full Hulkamania mode. It's a shame we don't have one of our expert wrestling friends we have
Yeah,
with us.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't think it was over like that, like what it got to, that I mean, the merch, everything everywhere, the red and yellow colors, the whole package, that shit was iconic for the 80s. I was never a Hogan fan because he never lost. So it's like it got annoying to me. I like the other guys more, you know what I mean? But as
That
far as
that took an
putting the
occasional
sport,
L.
yeah, the ham and eggers. Uh, but there's no denying what he did for that business. Like I mean, he put it on another level. But when it went to the next level, he was the one on top. So it just became something else.
Yeah, and it's funny, like
Movies, really bad movies,
well, he
some
could he could never parlay it.
pasta restaurant.
He could never really parlay it the way The Rock could later on, or like John Cena. Like Hogan, I
He's
guess was
not as
like
good an actor.
that's what it is. Like you watch him in No Holds Barred, which is he's basically playing himself. Then he does stuff like Thunder in Paradise, which is a TV show. He does Mr. Nanny. He does like these like really terrible fucking movies, but I guess that's really what it comes down to. It's like he just wasn't really
I
good
mean,
at
I don't want to
anything.
dunk on a dead guy, but like, his promos weren't weren't like up to some of his peers. You know what I mean? When like he cut promos and shit, like they were funny, but like for other reasons. I don't know. But like he didn't cut promos like Ric Flair or Macho Man, that guys that really sold some shit. I
Yeah.
thought,
Well,
maybe that's
listen,
why he couldn't act, you know. But
like you said, not here to dunk on that guy, which is true, and he was a big deal until, and it's funny to bring it back to what you said about him losing, until he lost to the Ultimate Warrior in 1990. I was just like, I think I was like 12 too, which is kind of embarrassing. I was still watching. Yeah, well, I'll get heat for that comment, but it just wasn't. Yeah, like at that point, like, I lost my virginity. I was probably on my way to start doing drugs. I was skateboarding. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, like, I had other interests, like, and that's fine. But yeah, Hogan was a big deal to me for a couple of years and until he lost to the Ultimate Warrior. And I think at that point, I was just like, yeah, I think I'm kind of like good on this, especially once you start realizing, because even as an 8 or 9 year old, you kind of still want to believe that it's real. You're like,
sure.
maybe it is real. Maybe it is real. And then as you get older, you're like, this is just really not real. But listen,
I don't
R.I.P.
remember.
Hogan.
I don't remember like, my moment when I found out Santa Claus wasn't real. But I do
Yeah,
remember being in the arcade at my dad's 7-Eleven when these two older teenagers were telling me wrestling was fake.
yeah.
I was like, no way, man. And then I
That's
was like,
that's who it
wait
is.
a minute, what the fuck, man?
That's
But
usually that's who it is. For me, it was like, like older uncles. Kind of like they're like, this is fucking so stupid. And I'm just like, you guys just don't fucking get
you
it.
don't get it, man.
You guys don't
Just
get it.
remember when the thunderstorm now, Sam, it's him dropping his big leg
Yeah.
on the clouds.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
All right.
Yeah, so
But
that
yeah, Ozzy though, that was the big one. And I'm
that was
so I mean, I can't believe as someone who grew up with him in my life, you know, he got the send off of a fucking king in fucking England. I mean, England did a top-notch job, I gotta say, fucking with everything, with the coverage, with the precision, with the bench and all the stuff that what Birmingham's done, the statues, shit like that. I mean, he's fucking royalty.
yeah, it was I watched some of the clips and it was pretty wild, right? Like who else got a send off like that? But like I was having this conversation with Ron, our boy Ron Grimaldi over at Generation Records and every show you've ever been to probably. And he just said that it was just kind of like, you know, it's a big deal. Like it's really a big deal. Like you have this send-off show, but you don't think it's a send-off, right? You're thinking like, all right, maybe Ozzy will, last another 10 years. And then like a couple of weeks after that last fucking send-off, you're like, he died. We're like, holy shit, the logistics in that planning, just that timing, it's almost like super like poetic in in a way where you just like you have this thing, everyone adores you, everyone goes and sees you do this last set. Um and then you actually go through with it and you die 2 weeks later. It's just like that he was committed to the bit for sure.
He was committed to doing that show, and it's like the stories you hear, with two spouses that've been together their
Yes.
whole lives, and one passes and the other one passes right away. And him not being able to perform and doing all like he held on for this thing. It's everything that's beautiful about art and fucking music and everything. And that guy was just a fucking icon. And then I heard like the Iommi interview, and maybe it was something Geezer said, but like when they came up with I guess he was really having a tough time during rehearsals and shit like that. And
Yeah.
they were even like, oh my god. And even the set list that they picked, not just for him either, but like because I thought it was like I love NIB. They played NIB, right? Like that. I didn't think the last four Sabbath songs, but they picked songs that were kind of easy to, NIB is a very easy song to play, manageable and shit like that for
Yeah, I
even all
remember.
the
Yeah.
players. For Bill, for whatever, like that's why they came up with the set list to make it easier for Oz, Bill, whatever. I mean, Geezer is obviously handling his business, but yeah, I guess he was really had a tough time getting to the show even. So, uh,
Yeah, I mean, what's going on internally more than anyone else, right? Like you're sitting there, they just said that he was, you know, I guess they were all taken back as to like how kind of he was, and
yeah,
I guess when you don't really roll with someone as much as you used to and you show up
yeah.
to do this last show, you're probably like, holy shit, like, but yeah, man, they did it, and for as long as I remember, and it's true, like my whole life, Ozzy's been there, with every decade that you could think of. So like his like loss is so big. And for me, musically, right? So musically, obviously you get Sabbath, then you get kicked out of Sabbath, but even by then, it's like you create like the records that they made, even if you want to shit on like the last two, maybe, um, it's just unbelievable, right? Like you come out of the gate and then you do that, and then from there, you're a singer in a band, and I obviously it's harder for Sabbath to keep it going, because once you lose a singer, it's almost impossible because that voice, especially Ozzy's voice. And then like, Sharon gets him and starts managing him, and his solo career starts, which is like arguably bigger than the Sabbath, as far as maybe success goes. Obviously not influence, Sabbath is always going to be Sabbath, but he had this like really like amazing second career. And then you go into like the 90s, which those albums are forgettable, obviously. And even with No More Tears, if you remember, that was going to be like the last album for some
No
reason.
more tours.
Well, right? Like I don't know what I don't know
I
what the reasoning
actually,
was.
I've been going through all the, a lot of his catalog, you know, a lot lately. Even listening to some live records, that I like Live and Loud, I think it was a
Live and Loud, yeah.
a double one, and I think that was on the No More Tours tour, I think. Because I think a couple of times, like I'm gonna miss you guys and all this stuff. Then I think he did a No More Tours too. I think was at one point and shit. But yeah, I don't remember the reason uh for why he wanted to walk away at that point. But this guy wasn't built to walk away. This guy was in fucking institution, man. He had an important position. For me, like in my age, he was like a figure of rebellion, like that. If you were a kid and you wanted some instant, if you wrote Ozzy on your textbook or on your fucking knuckles or came to school with an Ozzy pack, it was a statement like what what you were about. This guy was, at that time known before he became America's favorite father in the 2000s. He was the poster boy of debauchery and whatnot, and he leaned into the Satan shit and stuff like that. Even though he was always a Catholic guy and he always had crosses and stuff, but
Oh, yeah.
his the marketability, it was evil, it was dark, it was whatever. He was the rebellious figure. He was the rebellious figure. The guy lived fucking hard as a motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of like the controversies like seem funny. It's like, all right, you pissed on the Alamo. Like it just seems so fucking stupid. But like the thing that I think made him endearing, especially later on, because he was this like figure in the 80s, especially with videos like Shot in the Dark, where it's like the imagery is just like you're marrying like horror and metal, which was obviously, like our bread and butter. But then like, the Osbournes came. I thought that was the 90s. Wasn't that mid 90s or
2002, I believe.
get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
Holy
you know why?
shit.
Because it's on Tubi.
Yeah.
I think it's on Tubi and
Wow.
Prime, and I was watching episodes. I the first time in my life I rewatched a reality show. Like I was thinking, I was like, this might be the first time, but I just wanted to kind of spend some more time with the guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
I
I
um
refresh these memories and shit.
I cannot believe that the first step in 2005?
Okay, yeah,
That no, 2002 to 2005. That's it.
there you go.
But even when it came out, like I fucking hated it. I hated
Mhm.
it. I just
Yeah,
didn't I didn't like it for him. I just hated it. But I mean, like this was like a year removed from like or two from like the big one, which was like Survivor, and these things start happening, right? Like the writers go on strike, and then from there they're like, "Oh, cool, we'll just like have these like reality shows." And for a while that's really what it was, and you forget until like, Vice does those Dark Side of the 2000s things, and you're like, "Oh yeah, like reality shows were like taken over for like 4 or 5 years." It's like, oh, do you want to marry a millionaire or a plumber? Like everything you can think of. Fantasy, no, Temptation Island was one of the coldest ones. I remember that because do you remember that one?
I remember the premise, I think, right? They were trying to get people to cheat on each other.
Yes, yes,
Uh,
yes. So like
Yeah.
you get on there with people that are already on the rocks. You- You're there and then you dump like 18 like super hot like fucking girls and like guys, I guess. Right? And then they're like, "Hey, it's like you guys could just hang out here." And occasionally they'll throw in these like, fucking dick swingers and fucking like girls with like big titties. And then they're like, you guys could have sex if you want, It was so fucking cold, but I mean, like that was the wild fucking terrain back then, and I just remember thinking, like, God damn it, Ozzy. Like I didn't, even though musically, I feel like I was pretty much done with him as far as like the newer stuff, which was like Osmosis
Mhm.
and whatever.
Down
What
to
was
Earth was one.
is that what it was called? Down to
Like
Earth.
Rain.
Yeah, yeah, Down to Earth. Yeah, like at that point I was like I'm good. I'd rather listen to like fucking We Sold Our Souls.
Yeah.
Um and I just felt like at that point I'm like Sharon, I'm like what are you doing? And then the kids,
Hmm.
like it just seemed like more of like him just being like I'll do it just like for the family. Like he loved all those kids and like whatever they wanted to do, I feel like he was along for the ride. But the thing that show did was it brought him into like everyone else's like living room, like to where like my mom knew who the fuck he was.
Right.
To like where people like, oh, Ozzy from the Osbournes, and then you have this like thing that you remember from like let's say 10, 15 years before where you're like, oh my God, this guy's into Satan and bites, the head off a
Hmm.
bat, to like just seeing this like really like like he's just been a child. He's a
Yeah.
child the way like Tommy Lee is a child. Like these people are just
Hmm.
like suspended in like animation, and I think that's what makes him like endearing is that
Hmm.
he's a guy who's been famous or like in a working band since he was like what 1920.
Sure.
He's like the definition of like get him to the Greek when you think about him. Like he always needs a handler. He always needs a handler. Like
Right.
you're like I guarantee you somebody had the job where their only job was to make sure Ozzy didn't do anything crazy before the show, and you had to get him to the show.
Yeah. No, that's definitely true. The Osborne, some people were saying like, is exploitative a little bit because he had the disease, I think. That was around when he was diagnosed, right? Like, if you could see he has mild shakes and stuff like that. But I think it was to not to use a wrestling term again, but it was like to put his family over
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
Sharon ends up on like some kind of view show and has her own talk show, I think, at one point. Kelly's on with Joan Rivers. And the thing is what that sucks about reality television is there's very little reality in it. You've heard that a million times, but it's so set up and everything aren't you have happy accidents, I'm sure, but like there's a lot of control on this behind the scenes. But the thing is with Ozzy, that there's no acting there.
He's a
That's the
wild card.
guy. He's
He's a
not
wild.
fucking playing, you know.
Yeah, yeah, he's like Beetlejuice kind of from like the Stern Show. Like you don't like he's gonna do so, like you can't really rein him in
Like
basically.
if they were like Ozzy, we want you to say something like he'd be like, I'm a fucking say like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah,
he's not going to play ball like that. So you're going to get and that guy is entertaining enough, obviously. You know.
yeah, and like we did come to that same conclusion where I think it was just to put the family over for sure. Where he's just yeah, like and he did. He put them all in this public eye, and they all had these careers, except for
And
the
two,
daughter.
Sharon as a manager keeping him because that time, we're talking about the heyday of metal. Obviously metal's always been there and stuff like that, but in the 90s it had an odd time and shit and the new metal stuff coming on and you got the old guard still there doing Ozfest, which is a fucking massive thing obviously and stuff, but it does keep the Ozzy brand out there, you know what I mean? And Sharon's one of the best fucking managers in the love her or hate her, I'm sure you wouldn't be mad if she was your manager.
That's the whole thing. Yeah, like love her or hate her, like if she's your manager, like she's not like you could see just from the times that she was on the Stern show, like fucking like pick she did not give a fuck. And I
No.
think it was just probably like her dad, like her dad was like a a
Yeah,
real
that old
UK
guard of
gangster.
his dad was the gangster, and then you got that, I can't remember his name, the Zeppelin manager. He was legendary, fucking badass motherfucker.
I
These
forget his
old,
name too. Yeah,
yeah, but that old guard of kind of, the strong-handed manager, and that's what she was.
yeah. And also, like, the thing that kept him going too was Ozfest. Whoever started that was just really
I think they
fucking.
started it because he wanted to play Lollapalooza and they didn't want him, so they're
That's what
like,
it was.
"Fuck it,
That's what
let's
it
do
was.
our own." You
That's
know,
what it was. Yeah, that's what it was. Because had to have been 96 was the first like Ozfest, if I remember correctly. Let's look that shit the fuck up. Young
did you ever go
Davy.
to one?
I never did. I just didn't never like the lineups enough to go. But then again, I never went. I went to Lollapalooza all the time, like
Hmm.
Warped Tour, like all these shows. I just didn't like. I didn't like a lot of the bands.
Yeah, I hear you. Look, it's a long day out, man. Fucking yeah, 96. I went to a few. I got the privilege, I think at least two of them to get backstage one year when In This Moment played, and another year that we weren't playing, but we went and hung out and shit and just riding around the golf cart past all these buses and fucking shit. It's one of my like fucking primo memories.
It's a
But
good time.
yeah, it looks like 96.
Till when? When was the last one?
Um, this is all the lineups. We got 96, 97, 98. Looks like 2000. 2000. That's right. Oh wait, they did an Ozfest in England in 2001. Oh,
Probably an
there's
undertaking for
still
sure.
more. No, no, it kept going.
Yeah, that's
Thought
what I
so. I
thought.
thought that sounded right.
Yeah,
Looks like up to like 2010.
that makes sense. Yeah, something like that
Yeah,
makes sense.
that was the
Um,
last year.
and then they had the TV show on HBO on MTV, where they had these like bands that were trying out to fucking like play.
Oh, shit, I
It
forgot
was like
about that.
May, I forget what it was, but it's all up on YouTube because I rewatched it recently. And it was a
Got
lot of
that.
fun to basically dip back into like, the late 90s like metal scene with these bands trying to get like an opening slot.
Yeah, I forgot about that show. Shit. Yeah. But we're gonna get into some Ozzy and go through some deep cuts of his solo career later. But while we're talking about shows, we both went to a couple of shows recently.
Yeah, I heard the Ghost show is great. So our friend Ron, once again, we'll bring him up. Yo, Ron is like he's hilarious. So he works at Generation Records and he's like, "Yeah, Tobias came here to buy records." And I talked to him for like 20 minutes. I had no idea who the fuck he was. And then when he left, someone was like, "Oh, that's the guy from Ghost." He's like, "Get the fuck out of here." So he said he came back the next day. This was when they were playing MSG.
Yeah.
And he said he talked to him for 4 hours. He brought his son and he told Ron, he's like, "Yo, he's like, you're the only person that knows like every band I grew up on." And
Yeah.
he invites him to the show because he's just like, "Yeah, I think I'm on the Ghost list." I was like, "Really?" I'm like, "Okay, sure." Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn, I had no idea. That's awesome.
Yep.
Did he like it?
Yeah. Yep.
He did. Okay, cool.
So, because he said he saw him through the years, so like they've kind of like crossed paths, I think.
Hmm.
Um, but this was the first time, I guess, he, just went there, no
That's
makeup or
fucking
whatever.
funny.
I forget. I'm sure Ron could tell a way better story about it than I can. But yeah, so I heard it was great, but like what was the experience like? Obviously, because your son loves Ghost.
He loves Ghost. I always liked Ghost, and then when he got into Ghost, I got really into Ghost. They've had records where that was like my number one record of the year. I always loved those guys. I love the shtick. I love the hooks, man. This is like pop music for me. This is like sing along shit, but it's got like the Satan angle, which the contrast is so it's fun for me. It's like
It is
very
fun.
cartoonish, but it's everything that's an arena show like this like should be. You know what I mean? Like we got there. Um, took a while to get in. It was fucking all back to in the MSG when you first go into MSG. They set up the merch tables in that fucking area, and everybody that's like this is the only place in the whole fucking arena right now. Get on the merch like a fucking we got there right when it opened practically, and there's already lines so deep for the fucking merch because they have a crazy fan base, by the way. But I'm like, there's merch fucking stands all over this fucking entire huge place selling the same shit. What are you fucking people doing? And now that they're holding us, and we get in, and it's a phone-free event. Phone-free event, not like I went to see Tool and Primus. They had one, but they asked you not to, and people pretty much obliged. This was put your phone in a fucking bag. It's digitally locked. You keep it on your person. There's spots that it can be opened up if you needed it. Those spots I only saw at tables where merchandise were sold. So you would have to go online if you really had to make a phone call you buy a shirt or act like you were gonna buy a shirt. Um, but so the only weird thing for me was I purposely left my watch at home because I didn't want to take it off in the metal detector. I know it's weird. I'm like, I don't know what time it is. Like, when is this gonna start? Like, when I like knowing what time it is and shit. But other than that, it's cool. It's cool not to have a bunch of phones in front of you all the
I
time and
it
shit like
is.
that.
I mean, honestly, like, listen, I'm guilty of it.
Sure, me too.
So, especially in between bands, whatever. But like, yeah, it's a bit much because I feel like most people are like, "Oh, I'll take a picture of this. I'll take a picture of that because it's cool. Maybe a video, but like, bruh, there's like people like when I talk about the show I went to, there's people like filming every song of like a 3 hour set, and you're just like, what are you gonna
Yeah.
do? What are you doing with that?
You could go on
YouTube
YouTube
the next day.
and get somebody with better seats than
Yeah,
yours that did that shit. Like,
yeah,
and even then, like, man, a couple of times if I'm scrolling through, maybe oh shit, I'll pop that up and stuff. But I'm never like, I'm gonna listen to that fucking like and pull it up. I just happen to like a couple like of going to Metallica with my son and singing along, clip like that. Or, at the Misfits show. Every now and then I will pull up my Misfits clips, hearing that whole crowd singing in
yeah,
MSG singing Misfits songs. Still,
hey,
my hairs are standing up on end just fucking thinking about it now. But for the most part, it's fine. It's not. It's I'm sure they're gonna release a 4K fucking DVD of the fucking tour and shit like that when it's all done. You can
yeah,
fucking buy it or whatever. But
yeah.
yeah,
So,
so it was cool not having all that shit in front of you and stuff. The crowd ranged like, grandpas to like fucking children all across the board, guys and girls, very wide array and a lot of cosplay people dressed. Saw a lot of bloody nuns and stuff. A lot of nuns, girls dressing like nuns like crazy. Um, Guys dressed like pop. Some people with the ghoul masks. It's like fucking Kiss, with better better players and songs.
yeah, I mean, sure.
And,
If
yeah,
if Ghost covered Rock and Roll All Night and Detroit Rock City, you'll never have to go see another Kiss show again. Yeah, like you know what? Just go see them. They'll cover these two songs for you.
it's true, man. I was hoping they might do like an Ozzy cover, "Bark at the Moon," because it
Yeah,
happened, just it happened. So
yeah,
he did make a quick mention of it, that the show was dedicated to him. Everybody was chanting Ozzy. It was fucking really nice, good vibe in there. The light show, intense. Uh, does a costume change to the pop-up post thing, and these gets elevated behind the fucking stage thing up in the air. Pyro, like what he had two guitar players behind him, a bass player, two keyboardists, two background singers, and a drummer.
I mean, at
Big
that point,
production.
you can't sound bad
No, and the
with all
players were
that.
great. Those guitar players are insane. I would love to know who they are. I know they rotate around and shit like that. But good set list because their newest album, not my favorite in their catalog, but there's some bangers on it. But they did a nice overview of their whole career on it. It wasn't just like here's from the new album, here's from the new album, here's from the new album. And by the time they got to there's three encores, not
Wow.
three. There was one encore, I should say, like a pause, and then they did three songs.
Oh, God.
Did Mariana Cross, Dance Macabre, and Square Hammer to finish it off. Square Hammer was fucking incredible. That's one of my favorite songs of all time.
So it's funny, right? Like I saw them at Orion Fest, that Metallica festival
Mm,
in 2010, like when their first album came out, and they played at like 2
right.
p.m. Played at like 2 p.m.,
Yeah,
whatever.
that's a tough time slot for that
But it
band.
was that album is like still kind of like weird and darkish and like metal adjacent. And I was like, oh, this band's interesting. But when you listen to it, it wasn't really, it was still just kind of like, what am I watching? Like, I still didn't
Mm,
understand. And that was still like the shtick of like, okay, it's a different singer for every album with the same band.
hmm.
It's the same guy, and he's just swapping out band members. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Like that was he fooled me for sure. And
Hmm.
then one day they put out I heard Mariana Cross, and I was like, yo, I was like, what looked? It was probably on a release radar. And I
Mm.
was like, this song is so good. I'm like, it sounds like a 60s psych rock band. I'm like, how is this Ghost? And then you hear Kiss the Goat. And do you know like the
Yeah.
story behind those two songs?
No.
Yo. So this is the beauty of being like completely detailed about everything. So if you watch the Kiss the Goat video, what it is, it's like to the band. So like the Papa Emeritus, whatever, the first guy, like it
Hmm.
was basically a throwback to when he was a young kid and like wherever the fuck he grew up. And he was in like a 60s psych rock band. So in order for the folklore to exist,
Hmm.
they basically wrote these two songs that sound like they were like bands from the 60s, Mariana Cross and Kiss the Goat. And you're like, what is going on right now? Because when you
Wow.
hear it, these two songs sound nothing like the rest of the catalog. And those are the two songs that I love the most.
They're great.
They're just so fucking fantastic. And everything from there, like I'll listen to like some songs here or there, but it's not a band that I really I
Hmm.
wish I loved them more. I see them and I'm like, I want to love you so bad. Like I want to be a cosplayer at a ghost show. Like that's how much I want to love it.
Well, it's not a show, Sam. Do you know
Oh,
what they call it?
no. Oh,
A
the
ritual.
ritual. That makes sense.
There was two girls next to us that were super fans, and I heard my son explain this all to me later because I and is this your first ritual? I heard something to that effect.
Yeah, I mean that's brilliant. Everything about it is just lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
Ghost and Turnstile somehow by just being completely like outside of the box, they created these unit like it's just like
Outside of the box, found
yeah.
their little, lane in there, and
Yep.
boom, that's how it's
Uh
done.
all right.
And
So
you
I,
saw
I was at
the Wu Tang
MSG.
Clan and Run the Jewels.
Yeah, I was at MSG too. Um, the supposed last, I believe it, the last full Wu Tang group show. Because I think Riz is probably like, I could not get these fucking 9 or 10 people in the same building ever again for a tour. Like, so I believe it. They'll probably do a
Yeah,
one-off here and there, and three
yeah,
of them won't show up. So at first I'm like, do I care? Notoriously not the greatest live band because
bad.
it's hard. It's like there's 10 of you and it's just tough. But then
Tough.
like Run the Jewels was opening. I was like, all right, MSG. And my girlfriend's like, let's go. And I was like, you know what? If you want to go, let's just go. So we ended up going, and it was a lot of fun, man. It was a lot of fucking fun. We had the best seats, not as far as like closeness to the stage. It was still fine, but we had I don't know, we were just in this section where there was no one sitting behind us. And then I had the last seat on the right, and the only thing in front of me was stairs. So like I had all the leg room in the world and no one sitting behind me and only my girlfriend to my left. So I'm like, okay, this
Wow,
this yeah,
that's
go
solid.
Solid, solid, right?
Fucking A.
Run the Jewels came out and they fucking just murdered. They fucking murdered. I don't know how familiar half that crowd was with them, but to listen to Call Ticketron at MSG, where the song goes, Run the Jewels live from the Garden. And it
Hmm.
was it was this thing that they kind of like, put into motion where this is what they wanted to do, and they did.
They have
So
DJ?
yeah, of course, Trackstar. They played
Okay.
they
I
played
didn't know
their
who that DJ was.
yeah, he's day one. So they're a three piece for sure. And LP's dad obviously just recently died in like the last year or two, like native New Yorker. He's like, Dad would have loved this. So it definitely crushed him. He had the sunglasses on while he was talking about it. Um, and then at the end, like Killer Mike was like, yo, he's like, we did it. Like we're actually at MSG playing the show. And it was fantastic. Just a really killer set. And if there weren't all fans, I feel like they made a bunch of new fans on that one for sure.
Hmm.
Making way to the Wu Tang, right? So I'm thinking like, okay, like what are we gonna get? And the production was crazy. The screen, the imagery. Um, it starts off with like RZA coming out and doing like his like new, not new, but I guess probably something just he wrote for the tour. And then from there, like little by little, he like they don't come at it once, so he brings out like, they'll do a song and then somebody will do a verse and the next and then the next. And like everyone's just sounds hungry, energized, and perfect. And these songs just have they first of all, they start off with like probably the first eight songs from 36 Chambers,
Damn.
and it's like wow, like everyone is just like, I mean, you ready to like pistol whip someone in there, like, you know what I mean?
Right. Crowd kicking the rhymes too. Were they loud? Crowd
Yeah,
loud?
yeah,
Into
everyone
it?
was everyone
All
was
right.
loud for sure. um
Did everybody come? Everybody showed up.
Everyone was there. Everyone was there. So when we talk about like let's do the guest appearances, right? um they brought out the Locks. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Because I didn't know what the guest appearances were going to be like. But then they brought them all out, and then they did a song or two of the Locks. It was just like a New York celebration for sure. That's what it felt like. And I was like, man, that's great. And then they do some more shit, and then Havoc comes out, and
Oh,
Raekwon does his Eye for an Eye verse,
oh shit.
and then they let him do all of Shook Ones. Whoa.
That's
Okay.
dope.
Yeah, it was just fucking crazy. And then from there, uh who was next? I feel like maybe Redman was next. So, but you don't know, right? So Method Man comes out. Method Man just fucking like crushing. Like he's smoking everyone, right?
Yeah.
He starts doing maybe the Rock Wilder. He starts doing something from the Black Hat album, and then fucking Redman comes out and everyone loses their shit. Um Big Daddy Kane comes out.
Oh,
Slick Rick comes out. And yeah, Josh, Lefkowitz, fucking, what's his name? Guy that we always have on the show. Josh.
yeah.
Josh, what's his name? Well, I mean, that's his rap name.
Right.
Uh, he was there and he's like, you were at the Woo show. And he like, yeah, if you remember his book, Why You'll Never Be a Rapper, like the audio
Uh-huh.
book, I was like, yo, Big Daddy Kane's here, and he didn't even shout you out on stage. And he sent me a picture, and they were hanging out. I was like, all right, I'm like, all right, well
Nice.
played, well played. Um, oh, Little Kim and C's came out, right? So
God damn.
Method Man was talking about Biggie and how he was the only guest vocal on that album, and they did the what, and C's came out and did Biggie's part, and then Little Kim came out, and it was fucking wild, man. It was just it was
Good to be at the
great,
New York show.
pretty much. But I kind of figured like
You
MSG
ain't
would.
getting those guest appearances that, like, when they hit Oklahoma or something.
Probably not. They probably,
Yeah,
just rode over. But
yeah.
and here's what I gathered, like the things that hit were, there's something about lyricism, certain things, and maybe that's what Wu Tang's problem was live. Certain things you're just like sitting there and it's just like background, and you're like, you hear Jizza, and I'm like, oh, this is great. But then when like you're just like, oh, this isn't, it doesn't have that energy. It's hip
Mm,
hop and it's poetry, and you hear it and you just absorb it differently when you're in a live, or, you know. But then like Method Man comes out and he does like Bring the Pain and all that I want, all you want, without Mary J. And then you kind of like piece together like the things that worked and the things that didn't. And the things that really worked was everything from the first album. Everything from
yeah.
36 Chambers came out. Like, but it was just the velocity. Oh, SWV came out.
Get out.
Yeah. SWV came out, and then when they paid tribute to ODB.
Weak in
And
the knees like SWV.
yeah, man. So that was interesting. But I think it was just the energy of that first album. And I think really that's what really hit home. And then they close out with Cream and Triumph. So I'm glad I went. I'm glad, yeah, obviously, like, through the years since like 97, probably seeing them, and sometimes it was great, sometimes it was just like whatever. This
Hmm.
was this was a good, like, like just seeing the Misfits. I'm like,
Right.
I got my MSG experience with the Misfits. I'm like, I'm good. Like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't want to see another set from 70-year-old man that might suck, because I got my
Yeah.
set already.
You're not gonna get better than that.
You're not. And it's like I'm okay with just saying goodbye to that, and I'm okay with
Yeah.
saying goodbye to the Wu as a live performing group, because it was like, yo, killer. And then just recently, Master Killer put out a pretty decent album called Balance. The Raekwon album has some bangers on it,
It
and
does.
Ghostface is setting up to do Supreme Clientele. Just dropped Rap Kingpin yesterday. So yeah, these guys were all pretty much active. So, but that that
Yeah,
that
and
was that was
Czarface, one of my favorite active bands. So I
yes.
figured.
And
Oh,
that was the show.
nice. Yeah, I would have went. I got my chem, taking my son to my chem next Saturday, whatever the fuck it is. So there's just a lot getting laid out at the moment. But otherwise, I probably would have hit that one as well.
What'd you pay for the My Chem?
I don't remember. I bought him fucking shit. I think I bought him in November last year.
Yeah, I considered going because like
I got him instead of I was taking him a lot of shows last year, and then there was more stuff though for us that we were co-interested in. This year we found out Ghost, my Chem, two of his favorite bands of all time. I said maybe we'll go to a little less shows, but I'll try to get you better seats. So I got like 205 at the Garden, which is like in line with like the mixing board, but off to the side a little bit.
okay, yeah,
Best seats I've seen in the Garden and maybe ever. I don't fucking I'm usually up way high, but and I got decent seats for my chem as well, but decent being not like the fucking floor or something, but a section or two up instead of fucking all the way top. So I was like, we'll just try to get better seats for shows that mean more to you. So
very cool.
I don't know anything. I know from what I've heard from him. I don't know much about that band. That kind of got popular when I was somewhere else. But
Yeah, we have a lot of mutuals with those guys, because when they were coming up, they would play like Long Island a lot, and they linked up with some of my friends, and I guess they were all very nice guys.
I'll be pulling up setlist.com to find out how many songs at the encore. So like my head would be like, all right, when do we gotta leave to get to the car?
Huh.
But he's gonna love it. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's it.
So yeah, real quick, we were gonna just tag on some just because we're still the whole Ozzy thing still hangs over us. We were going through, his back catalog, and really the first six albums are the ones that we fuck with, and thinking, is there a deep cut on each of these records that, you love that maybe over the years, like he played early on when he was touring it because his catalog didn't get as big. But if you saw Ozzy by like Ozfest time, a lot of these songs were never in set lists ever again. Like he kind of did the Crazy Trains, do some Sabbath shit, Suicide Solution. You knew what you were getting. Mr. Crowley, Bark at the Moon. I could write it out for you and probably be right and maybe not get the order right. He didn't experiment. There wasn't a lot of digging back in the crates and pulling out some rarity and shit like that for the Oz man. So on Blizzard of Oz, what you got one on there that's a banger
Blizzard
that's
of Oz. Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm always gonna go with and he always
no
did
mo
it.
movies.
Nah, no, I'm always gonna go with Mr. Crowley, which he always did, but to me it just it like just when you hear that, like it I don't know, maybe because Artie would always do, Mr. Crowley, but it was
Yeah.
just so quintessential to the sound, like to me, like that's what I would like to hear because he's gonna do, I don't know, he's gonna do Crazy Train,
Hmm.
obviously Goodbye to Romance, even like Suicide Solution, which I mean, did he play it that much live? I don't remember that because I was a
He
little
did, yeah,
shocked.
because that was always what went into the guitar solo historically with
I could
Randy and Zach. They do like Suicide
okay.
Solution, break for that.
Because I would like when he threw that in one of the songs for the final performance, I was kind of like surprised. I was like, oh, I didn't think that he would throw that in there. And
I think
obviously, I
it's
love
easy song to play.
the history of it. It's just that was the song that they
Yeah,
picked. Like that the PMRC went after Suicide Solution,
sure.
where that guy was like, "Do it, do it, do it." Like
Do
if
it,
you
do
if
it.
you play it backwards.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it as far as like anything that because the whole like half the album really isn't a deep track. And out of those, like I would just say Mr. Crowley is my banger.
I love Mr. Crowley. I always liked Revelation Mother Earth a lot because I don't know, it's got a lot of different movements in it. It's a long song for him, I think over 6 minutes. And you could tell it's Randy who's had a big classical background, really flexing his chops on that fucking record, on that song. I always love that, and I love Steal Away the Night a lot. It's a fun fucking rock record, great riff. Um, but yeah, they were kind of abandoned. Revelation Mother Earth, I would assume, because obviously the length and it wasn't as big and stuff. But I just love the musicality in that fucking song. Yeah,
Blizzard, yeah, man, really, I just to to be kind of like thrown out and then to come back that strong with that record is pretty awesome. And I still go back to these, especially just recently. Like if you look at their like Spotify numbers, Sabbath and Ozzy, they're almost at like
mhm,
30 million a
yeah.
piece, which is cool because everyone's probably doing what we're doing. But I still like, I could still easily put on half that album.
It's great. It's great.
Uh,
And then we follow it up with Diary of a Madman, which ended up being Randy's last album. Um, some real bangers on this. I mean, I don't think he played Over the Mountain anymore because that's probably my favorite. But let's say he did fuck with that every now and then. I really love Sato, the
oh
song Before the End
yeah,
has a fucking amazing riff. And Randy is that's yours.
that was my pick. Yeah, for sure. I mean
Yeah,
yeah, that's a banger.
it's so good. Great chorus. Believer. This is a great record. I prefer this one over
Me too.
Blizzard a little
Me
bit
too.
more.
Yeah.
It's a little further step into uh metal I think for me, like Blizzard of Oz is more of a hard rock record. And I love Blizzard of Oz, don't get me wrong, but yeah, there's a little more edge to it, a little darker. Uh what do you
Yeah.
think?
No, without a doubt. Yeah. So like especially over the mountain like that fucking like riff ticka, 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 but it took me a while to really come to that conclusion, but I feel like I made a Facebook post like 5 or 6 years ago where I was like, I think I'm kind of like finally breaking away and thinking like Diary because they were so close together, right? I feel like they were
Yeah.
all recorded at the same time. They just kind of like released them separately because it's only eight
Uh,
songs on here, I think eight and maybe like what, 10 on the other, nine.
Something like
Uh,
that.
um, so yeah, I
Or
mean,
nine on the first, I think, and eight in the second, I believe. I
yeah.
don't remember.
So
Believer, that's another banger.
yeah, I'm a big fan of this album, and the album cover is fucking fantastic, so great.
It's so great.
The writing, but for me, it was always SATO for sure. If I was gonna pick a rando deep cut,
Yeah, I don't think I ever seen him fucking play that live, and that's a shame. But yeah, so that was the last album with Mr. Rhodes, and then we had, and I have to mention, it's not up streaming anywhere, probably for I don't remember the legalities or whatever, but Ozzy still had a deal, and or was something running out with, so he still had the rights to the Sabbath songs to do live or whatever. So either way, we get Brad Gillis joining the band from Night Ranger, and they released the Speak of the Devil double live album, which for me, like when you're a kid, it's just like I think my brother had it, and this was like some of my first exposure to some Sabbath songs,
and
like hearing it
that album
through.
cover is like
That's so great
seared into your brain.
with that fucking jelly hanging out his mouth or
Yeah,
whatever, and then you open the gatefold and it's him. And shout out to Ronnie the Dwarf, the little dwarf he had there that he would hang, I think, on the live shows or whatever. But it's all Sabbath shit, uh, and Brad Gillis does it admirable job. I would have liked to seen him invited to the show, give him a little fuck, because I don't think that was an easy fucking gig for anybody to fucking step into. And Ozzy was in rough shape after Randy was gone, so he comes in there, does that. That's not up streaming anywhere, I don't think. Hopefully, it will be again someday. But then Jakey Lee joins the band and gives us "Bark at the Moon," which is for me kind of a little bit of a, it's a touch and go record. Uh, it's not as good as the first two. There are some bangers on it. "Bark at the Moon," maybe my favorite solo Ozzy song of all time. But what would you cite as a deep cut on this record that
man, I really recently revisited this and only to come to terms with it again that I remember this might have been the first cassette I bought from Ozzy. And I think it was just for the album cover, right? It's just like
another great one?
album cover, you're just like, oh my God, what is this? And then fucking Bark at the Moon is a ripper. That song is so good.
So good.
And then the rest of the album just kind of like it's okay. Like
Yeah.
no, it's just really not that great. And I really recently did like a re-listen and I was just like, man, I really wish I liked this. But listen, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
um, the ultimate sin came and Jake redeemed himself with a lot of this stuff. So yeah, I mean, I mean, what Rock and Roll
You don't have a
Rebel?
deep cut. Rock and Roll Rebels
Yeah,
has a great riff to it.
like
I'll stand by Rock and Roll Rebel. And I loved Ozzy, his rock and roll so much. Like he's not a heavy metal rebel. He stuck with that. Him and Lemmy, old
yeah,
school.
yeah, old
It was
school.
always rock and roll. And Waiting for Darkness, would have made a great song added to a horror movie in the 80s. It would have, with that keyboard riff, it would have been great in
And
a
and
fucking 80s horror movie.
and I could genuinely put this on and like I don't hate it. But like yeah, like when you really go back and you start to like dissect it, I guess it's just not as strong as the other ones, but like you put any of these songs on and it's still like such a fun, great time warp. It's not like I don't want to listen to any of these. So you could play any one of those songs and I'm like, man, this is fuck cool. It's like Bark at the Moon. So
It takes you back, man. You
yeah.
know? And his voice always sounds good to me, even if the song is like those latter albums, the Kevin Churko stuff that I don't really listen to. I still love hearing him sing on it. But this was still pure Ozzy's voice and not as much
Pure. Yeah.
processing and
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
whatnot. It gets a little clinical towards the end. That you know,
Yeah.
you can hear the touch ups. But
without
yeah,
a
so
doubt.
Jake is us Ultimate Sin, which I think is one of the greatest metal albums of all time. I think it's perfect. I don't think there's a bad track on it. It's a shame that Ozzy hated it for so much.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he doesn't because I mean I know I think Shot in the Dark, which was his biggest single, um, brought in by Phil Sushin, the bass player from a band he was in previously. So I think there was a lot of touchy shit around the songwriting credits and shit like that. That I think that song kind of got scrapped. Because why else would you not play your biggest single for a couple of decades? You know, like never play it. Fucking, I think there had something to do with that. I don't think Ozzy. I think Ozzy said it sounded like a pop song too. But it's like Crazy Train's a pop song. Like I don't get that. And like, Changes was going for radio play and Sabbath. Like you're not, it's not like, this isn't like as much as it's such a departure as like Metallica making Enter Sandman or something. It was way different. I mean, and I mean Ozzy always seemed kind of fluid, I think, in his solo stuff.
I
But so I'm
listen.
surprised by
Yeah,
that. But the Ultimate Sin, he really didn't even play either. I don't know, maybe he didn't like the production. I don't know, but he said that he didn't like the record, or maybe he was just in a bad. But wasn't this around when he shaved his head and shot those dogs and shit and threatened to kill Sharon or something? He had like
ah,
a housewife hair on. Check this out. I found this cleaning up my closet. This is Ozzy's Ultimate Ozzy VHS. There's a live show from this tour and shit like that, and he's got the midwife housewife hair,
yeah.
the perm.
What's it? What does it have in there?
It's a live show from the Ultimate Sin tour.
Okay. Oh, that's awesome.
Um, yeah, it's not available. I think it's on YouTube. It's not available on DVD. I was actually talking to Jeff. I was like, I was gonna bring it out. I gotta find a VHS player over and bring it out to Matatuck. We're gonna have a little wake and watch this bad boy. But yeah, Ozzy's got the full housewife haircut there because I think he shaved his head. Maybe he was wearing a wig. He had a dark period around there, so maybe he just associates this record with that, you know. But to
Maybe.
the songs crush, man. Jake E. Lee is doing so much on this record. Every outro, he's soloing fucking incredible shit. For me, I think the song Never is one of the greatest fucking songs ever made. The riff is fucking unbelievable.
I don't.
So much. I can't pick it. All these songs are really deep cuts when you think about his career because they kind of got buried. And I think they're all perfect, to be honest with you. But
Yeah, I don't think he's ever or anyone's ever mentioned like Killer of Giants. Like I don't.
great.
Right. Like I don't think. I never really hear him play that, or like no one's ever mentioned that as far as like ballads go.
Great ballad. That guitar intro is fucking gorgeous, man.
So, yeah, I mean, I find myself listening to The Ultimate Sin probably like when I go back, it's probably like the one that I listen to the most as far as like the solo records go.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I just maybe it's just that opener. Like when I hear Ultimate Sin opening that album, I'm like I want to like listen to more. So,
So
no,
to end cap it, Ultimate Sin and Shot in the Dark. I mean, those are just two fucking great fucking 80s bangers, man.
yeah,
That
yeah.
guy, I have to say, I love that. I wish Ron could be here to hear me refer to the Ozzy songs as bangers or that they're fire.
Another great album cover. Like when you think
Oh,
of like mid 80s like metal album covers, like this is like the epitome. I feel like someone,
yeah.
turned this into like an amusement ride in Coney Island or something.
Yeah, totally. Or airbrush on the side of a van or
Yeah.
a spare tire cover at the heavy metal parking lot. Or like that heavy metal fucking magazine with those big titty cartoon girls. It's got
Yeah.
everything. It's got
It's
the devil, the hot chick. It's fucking great.
it's killer. All right, so now we're at the Zach Wild era.
Father Zach.
No Rest for the Wicked. Like I didn't really love this album.
Hmm.
88, 88, right? Yeah, like
Yes.
maybe I need to like re-listen to a lot of it, but I just never, I don't know, I didn't like it. Well, like Crazy Babies is on this, right? Yeah.
Crazy
Uh,
Babies, Breaking All the Rules, Fire in the Sky, also single. I like that tune. Probably might be my deep cut selection. Miracle Man, he still would play
yeah.
live. You hear that? That's a great song.
No, yeah, of
That's a
course.
killer song. You know,
Even like right, is that the video? Yeah, the video. The video is like him like dressed up and he's like a country, like he looks like he's
isn't
in
he in
like
a church and there's pigs running around on the ground in the mud or something? I believe.
maybe I'm thinking of Crazy Babies then, where he's like dressed up in
Crazy
like.
Babies has those two girls from the cover shaking their heads back and forth. It
Mm.
might be black and white.
No, then I'm thinking Miracle Man for sure, where he's like
It's the
for
Jimmy Swaggart fucking
yeah, he's got.
like a preacher.
I'm gonna fucking look that goddamn shit up now.
But I think they're playing this is when Geezer joined the band too, right? I think on this record. I know
Oh
Randy
yeah,
Castillo was playing drums. Shout out to RIP Randy Castillo, great drummer. Wrote in my son Plymouth Sundance once in the Hamptons. Shout out to him, RIP, great drummer. And I think Geezer joined the band again. Well, not again. This was his first time in the band.
oh shit.
Um,
You know, the video I was thinking of was Ultimate Sin. I forgot that there's a fucking video for that.
that was when he was like Dallas. It was a
Yeah,
spoof on Dallas.
that's what it
JR.
was. Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Son of a whore. Yeah, I didn't really get a chance to revisit this. I just remember never liking it, but I mean, it could just be from like not hearing it for so long.
Still have the vinyl upstairs. I got Zach to sign the record.
Yeah.
Um, I got that because I remember that was a big deal. I remember in the being in the cafeteria, everyone is Ozzy's guitar player was like the dream gig of any any guitar player. Like, you know, it was like two albums and he got a new guy, you know. Obviously Randy that kind of forced his hand to set up that template. But then Zach ended up being there a really fucking long time, you know. But he was a hot shot. I think he was what, he's like 19 years old, I think, on this record.
Fucking
Something like
like
that.
super fucking young.
Yeah, total
Yeah.
baby, but different style of playing and a different sound. And it was a big record for him.
I mean,
It did well.
I just saw him crush with Pantera,
Oh yeah, you went to
which
that show.
I did, yeah.
They did did they do Planet Caravan or what did they do for Ozzy?
Electric Funeral?
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But through the whole show, of course, like, Phil was just, having everyone chant Ozzy. Uh, yeah, it was cool, man. It just, I had no, I hate to say no interest, but like like I saw Pantera already, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like I saw them at Nassau Coliseum, so I was okay with the fact, I guess as you get older, like you're okay with the fact of like, I'm not seeing this again. It's just, that's it.
Hmm.
Never seeing it again. So I wasn't gonna get tickets, but then Michelle was like, "Hey, do you want to just come hang out?" And I was like, "Well, Karen's in Florida, so
It's on Long Island.
yeah." I was
Yeah.
like, "You know what? Like, I had a barbecue, and I was like, I have enough time to just leave the barbecue, drive there, hang out, watch them play the set, and it was cool. Like, I went there by myself, watched the set, hung out with Michelle and her crew, and then bounced right the fuck out of there. And
Full House.
we had a suite. Yeah, it seemed, I'm sure, but I don't know if it sold that well because I feel like a lot of people were getting discounted tickets because there was just a bunch of randos in there being like, oh, I got,
Oh, I was looking on StubHub. You could get in the upper deck of the day of
like
like
$30.
for $30. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
my son's birthday, we had a birthday party, family over all day. It was a long fucking day. If he was considering it or if we wanted to, but we were shot. Otherwise, I would have been there probably.
It was
It's
just a
the only metal show they had, I think, this year.
yeah, it was just a matter of like basically just driving there. And like I said, like I've never been in a suite there before, but you have your own bathroom. And I'm like, this is
Oh,
like
nice.
clutch.
Yeah,
Like you have
can't
your
beat
own
that.
bathroom?
Yeah,
All right, I'll go.
that's
Like your own bathroom? Like that's like the whole, that's the worst part of everything.
That's a big deal.
Like waiting online to take a piss for like, 20 minutes and you're like, God damn it.
Yeah, or if it's a show you really don't want to like, you got to strategize when a
Yeah,
certain song comes on. Then they play this, I got to take a leak.
that's it.
And when you're at a metal show of a certain age, like I remember, where did we go see Black Label with Anthrax in Brooklyn? Remember that when we went to that shit? Chuck D
Oh, yeah,
came
yeah,
out
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
show. You go to metal band of a certain age, like the line for the guys' room
Yeah,
is girls' room is fucking empty. And the
yeah,
guys, because it's a sausage party. I'm like, what
yeah,
the fuck is
yeah,
this shit?
yeah, yeah,
Fucking Trump's America.
yeah.
The fuck? Obama was president. I walked right in.
Well, I told Michelle, I was like, I'm pretty sure you're one of 10 women here. That's it. All
But
right.
yeah, so we're up to No More Tears. Zach's second effort with them. Huge fucking record for the Oz man. Uh, was on MTV constantly with the title track, No More Tears, one of my favorite bass intros of ever, killer sound. Um, Mama, I'm Coming Home, humongous crossover hit, you know, humongous. That song that's found its way into like all kinds of non-Ozzy related things and licensing. You'd hear it all the time. Massive.
Written by Lemmy.
Written by Lemmy as well as Hellraiser,
Hellraiser.
right? Also written by Lemmy, I
Yeah, because
think,
I
right?
think
Because he recorded that first, I
he
think.
recorded it first. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Road to Nowhere, another big. They have a lot of singles on here. Um,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, this thing had a lot of singles. I don't want to change the world, Mr. Tinker Train. Uh, yeah, time after time, same thing. Uh, I feel like Don't Blame Me. Yeah, this thing had like a shit ton of singles, so it's very
mhm.
hard to pick uh one deep cut here because I feel like these are all my favorite songs.
I thought
Um,
Desire was a good tune,
yeah, Desire's
good
great.
live song.
Um, and this album, I remember when it came out. So like I was 14 when it came out. I feel like it was like the first one that my brain, like I was kind of like all about music at this point, right? So the one before this was 88. I was 10 and I was like just at the beginning and I was like when I first started really giving a fuck about music, I would listen to everything, right? So like No Rest for the Wicked came out and I was like, okay, like it wasn't as good as like Appetite or so that's how I
Mhm.
was like judging these albums. And then by the time this came out, like I was already like just knee deep into everything from like, punk to hip hop to this. And I love No More Tears. I think it was just like a perfect time for me to really absorb. It was like the equivalent of finally watching like a Halloween or a Friday the 13th in a movie theater. That's how I
Mhm.
felt with this. Like I felt like very attached to like everything, and then the videos were a big deal, and the production, and him. This was the last album. Um, Now, Mama, I'm Coming Home. I'll tell you this, man. When it first came out, I was like, I'm kind of like sick of this song. I didn't like it. I didn't care. But for that
Yeah,
last performance, I think you're like I was able to like kind of like detach myself from like hearing it 100 times. And like when you really break down the actual song structure and melodies and everything about it, I'm like, holy shit, this is like this
it's a
song.
great.
It sounds like a goddamn Beatles song. It's like written so perfectly, and it's just like all
Yes,
these like,
exactly.
it felt like I felt almost like when you're listening to the other day we were driving home from playing a show and we put on Silent Lucidity on the drive home and we're all
Uh,
just like it was like we were hearing it for the first time because like me, my bass player, and my drummer were like, "This song is so fucking good." Like everything about it, we're like, I don't know. It was like hearing it for the first time. It was the same thing. Like Mama, I'm Coming Home. Like you hear, and everyone's like, he's having a hard time singing it, but everyone's there. They don't give a fuck. They're just like, all right, Ozzy, just do it. And yeah, every turn, every melody, every chord structure, just really hit. So.
yeah, it's a perfectly written song, and I still haven't. I've been watching the show with my son. I have the whole 9 hour. Uh, whatever the full length was of the show. But we haven't gotten to the very end. We just finished Slayer, but during the weekday he's got shit going on, whatever. So we watching clips and stuff. So I haven't watched the Metallica, Sabbath, and Ozzy part, and I'm 90% sure that when I rewatched this and now he's passed and they play that, I'm probably gonna cry.
I
I'm
hope
pretty
so.
sure I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, take video. We'll attach it to this episode.
Crying
Uh,
sells
Yeah,
clicks.
totally.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, man.
Yeah, but
First
then
six.
after that, the musical landscape changed. Was in a different place. 91, I graduated from high school. That's when that came out. And then I kind of, those are the albums that stick with me, 'cause I just was somewhere else. So going back to them, they really, I'm just not never going to click. If you were so many things, so many films, when did you watch them? Where was your head at? When you heard that band, were you in the right space to hear that thing where it resonates? A kid that was maybe, 4 or 5 years younger than you, osmosis might hit them in a way that fucking, you know what I mean? Like that's just music and art.
Without a doubt. Yeah. Yeah, because Osmosis was like 5 years after.
I think
And
so.
then you hear like Perry Mason and you're like, wow, what a cool song, what a cool melody. And then you hear Perry Mason. It was really off-putting to me, like lyrically. I was like, I don't know, who do we gun on the kids? We
Yeah.
need pet. And I'm like, did you run out of shit? Like you run out of gas. That's fine. And then the one after Down to Earth, that fucking like it just
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, like I already heard Sabbath do this. I already heard Ozzy do this. But to me, it's like, man, give me your Ozzy, your Sabbath run, and give me your first six solo albums, which is more like, I mean, that's a lot of fucking music for someone to, like at a certain
The,
point, you're like, all right, give me one album from this person, this, whatever. But it's like, you
you
know,
can do whatever you want at that point. You're cemented.
yeah,
The metal, heavy metal as it is, like there was these four guys in
yeah,
this fucking small town and none of this kind of shit existed. And you can make, I always consider the big four of classical, put the Stones, Beatles, whatever. Classical as far as Zeppelin, Sabbath, Purple, and Pink Floyd, maybe. I always kind of group in my head as, those standards of hard rock and whatnot. And
Anvil.
uh you can really handle, of course. We all had Dog Eat Dog. Was Metal on
No,
Metal?
metal on metal.
Right. The Sabbath created a fucking subgenre of rock that of a fan. If you look at it like a family tree and you examine the roots of where we are now, and you can trace it all to these four fucking dudes, is as heavy as a fucking compliment you could give any band. you
Yeah,
know Something didn't exist and they willed it to.
yeah,
It's amazing. It's fucking well. And it's everything's different without him. I don't know. I didn't listen to Ozzy every day anymore, maybe, but just he was this institution that you always thought was going to fucking be there somehow, even though you knew it doesn't work that way.
yeah.
And not having him here, I don't know, the world feels a little different to me.
I never got to snort that line of ants with him the way I wanted to. You know, I feel like
I'm gonna do it out of respect.
out of
I'm
respect,
gonna
I'll do
try.
it.
Somebody
Uh,
did. Somebody did this week.
you know what? You're
I
probably right. Yeah,
Somebody did.
like the 2025 version of Zebra Man did somewhere. He's
It
like,
had to be a TikTok trend.
this one's for Ozzy. All right. Well, you said it all, and I got a party to get
Yeah,
to.
I gotta pick my son up from fucking band practice. You know.
That's it.
Oh, real quick before we sign off. We're already here, and who knows
Yeah.
when your laptop's gonna work again. I watched Happy Gilmore 2 this morning.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was fucking fun, dude. That
Wasn't
was
that so
fun.
much fun? What? Yo,
Yeah,
hold on a
that
second.
was better than I thought it would be.
Listen, we're gonna tag it on here. This description of this episode is gonna be all over the place. But yeah, yeah. Let's just I'm sure we'll talk about it later on, probably because I could genuinely say it's one of my favorite movies of the year. Um, I saw people really kind of like shitting on it, and my girlfriend was away in Florida for last weekend, so I was like, well, I feel like that's a movie she's gonna want to watch, so I have to wait for her to get back, so I don't have to watch it twice. Okay. And then I just like read like negative shit about it, and I was like, no, nothing, no spoilers, but it was just like, oh, it's no funny, not funny. And I should have read who was saying it because it's just like probably the most unfunny people having the biggest complaint. And I put it on 2 days ago, and I was like, okay, it's on Netflix. It's very easy. You'll just watch it. And I'm telling you, from beginning to end, I'm smiling and fucking laughing like I'm mentally ill. Like
Yeah,
it started with the absurdity of like uh just uh, I mean everything was really absurd. But like the killing of the wife to him drinking out of everything.
yeah.
Everything was his flask, which I thought was hilarious. And then the fucking cameo started coming. All right, listen. In the very beginning, I'm like, okay, here's a guy that has a humongous Netflix deal. And he's like, you know what? My daughters want to be in this. They're going to be in this. My wife wants to be in this. She'll be in it. My friends and I don't understand how you could watch this and not laugh and think it's hilarious. Benny Safdie's in it. Like, and
He
I
was
was like,
great.
what is the Benny Safdie connection? I'm like, Uncut Gems, you moron. I'm like, oh yeah.
You got the
Margaret Qualley.
Steve Buscemi fucking. Does anyone do better fucking small cameos in a fucking in a
Yeah,
movie than
yeah.
Steve Buscemi
I
for
mean, he's
Adam Sandler?
pissing in a mailbox, but everything was really funny, but in like a
Yeah.
dumb, like everything was just funny but dumb. But
Well,
like,
first of
okay,
all, if you don't like the first film, there's nothing for you to see here.
absolutely.
Don't bother, whatever. But like, and it flashback because there's flashbacks like heavy. But yeah, the cameos were great. I wasn't, again, like I was saying, I wanted to see some fucking comedy that doesn't have a fucking, that's trying to make a point about something.
Yep.
Or, although, Sam, is Sandler trying to tell us by this new golf coming in, and he's the traditional golf, that
Yes.
maybe Republican values are more important? Is
That's
that what he's
right.
trying to tell us?
I think that's
No,
who's
there's none of that shit. It's
no.
just a fucking fun movie. It's sweet. It's got some heart to it. It's the people they brought back were all great. What they did to
His
honor the
sons were
characters.
great.
Yeah, had our boy from Snack Shack was one of his sons. I was like, where the hell do I know this kid from?
Oh,
And
I didn't
yes, he was
notice.
from
Yeah.
Snack Shack. But yeah, it scratched the right itch for me. I just enjoyed first I'm like, oh, 2 hours. But we were just talking about a tight 90. I'm like, this film need to be two, but it didn't feel like that. And uh just a lot of fun. Will I go out of my way to rewatch it all the time? Maybe not, like I did have thoughts of like you remember when the Bill and Ted came out? What was that,
Mm.
around COVID time? And we were all like, how it stretched that nostalgic itch, whatever. Was that movie like that good? I don't know if it
Base.
was. I don't think it was. I think we just needed something at that time.
Yeah.
But this movie, it was a great sequel. And like it ended great. It gave an ending to this character where he ended up, everything like that. It was like one of those comedies we used to get back then. It was just silly for the point of being silly. You either can get with that, or it didn't have to look for some kind of fucking some
Yeah.
subtext or anything. It just was there, and
Yeah.
I enjoyed it thoroughly.
I enjoyed it so much. Like the Eminem cameos, like
That was fun.
the absurdity of like the new golfers, what they represented with that, like they cut that ligament or something. I'm like, this is like brilliant. Like
Yeah,
that they're
and,
able to kind of like, and he's like, nah, I just use plain old rage.
and Chris McDonald, man, that's his name, right? Shooter McGavin.
Shooter, yeah,
That guy, talk about, we got to do a character actor fucking list or something one day, because that guy's always solid, man. Everything he's in. I love the baby face turn,
yeah.
with him. And gave
Shooter.
great ending to that character because that guy's a legend. That was a legendary asshole comedy villain, man. Shooter McGavin. Yeah, outstanding.
Yeah.
And
Yo,
they even called back some of the jokes and shit like that. And
they did, but like when they had that first fight in that cemetery, all the dead people from the movie, I'm like,
everybody,
it's so ridiculous. But I'm like, every person that died in this movie's buried here. Just
you got Yule from Breaking Bad universe, fucking as Carl Weathers' son. He's also got a fucking wooden
yeah,
hand.
yeah.
That's the man.
Or the other
Uh,
guy, the guns don't kill people guy, the Jaws from the Bond movie.
yeah, but they brought so it was a basketball player. I was like, who the fuck is this guy? He looks like that motherfucker. But and you know what? And also, if probably if you like golf, like I don't follow golf, I guess that there would have been some inside baseball there with a couple of jokes with a guy. Oh, yo, John Daly in the fucking living
I
in the
didn't even know
garage.
that was him until they said it, and I was like, "Oh, this dude was on Stern all the time." I didn't know that was John Daly. That's great.
He was awesome in
So
that
was
fucking movie.
Bad Bunny was fucking kind of like
It's great.
so he when he's like doing like like the pitching machine, he's like he jumping in
Yeah.
front of the ball and then he catches it with his mouth. Like it's so fucking stupid. And I just but everything about it, like I'm sitting there, even like so like who did he go golfing with? Margaret Qualley. Oh, Eric Andre
Eric Andre and
and
the
that
other
other
guy I
dude.
think is on SNL, I believe. The
Yo,
newest.
very fucking funny, man.
Yeah, it was
Just
enjoyable.
it was very it just that guy can make a dumb movie, but God, when it comes to like when he hits it,
Yeah,
all his friends pop up and everyone's there just with a cameo, and it's like, who could get
looked
that
like they
many
had a
people?
good time too. Everybody, it looked like a fun movie to make.
Like, who could get
You
that many people to something like that? Like, not many.
in that Haley Joel Osment, keep the facial hair. He should keep the beard.
Yeah,
It takes away from that disturbing man baby face.
he does have a
But he
baby
was
face.
funny too. All
Yeah,
that shit was funny. Yeah, loved it. I thought it was fun. If you looking just want something that goes down easy and you like the first movie, man, put that shit on. Fucking
yeah.
get over yourself. It's a good time.
Get over yourself, motherfucker. All right,
Yeah. All right. By the
all right,
next time we talk, like see Eddington, I want to talk to you about that.
all right.
Like
But